Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Mr. Moray coming to you with a explanation video for the Intro to Algebra vacation project. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to break down how the project works, kind of what you need to do, the expectations, etc. And then I'm going to go through some examples of how you can do research to help you do this. So I want to start really by thanking Janaya and Javon because they really got us thinking about some ways that we can make the math problems interesting to you as we're out of school and we don't have the opportunity to work with you as closely as we'd like to. And so I'd also like to thank Miss H and Miss F for all their help with brainstorming and kind of going through things and looking at that. So as of the time I'm making this video, this is what things are going to look like. I don't expect that very much will change, and that's kind of why I'm doing the video at this point. So I'm going to start by kind of going through the template. So you should receive this template. Everyone will receive their own template through the Google Classroom. Okay. It will look like this document right here. And then in a moment, I'll show you how I customized it for my project so you can see an example. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do obviously is you're going to change your name. So you would change that to whatever your name is. Okay, and then you're going to start by telling us your story. So here's the scenario. Everyone has been given $2,000, okay, to go on any vacation of your choosing. You can go wherever you want, but you only get $2,000, no more, okay? You can go to up to 4 places. So I'm giving you 4 blanks. You need to go to at least 2 different places. So 3 and 4 are optional. I'd recommend starting with 2 and seeing if you can afford any more. Okay, but for each of those places, you need to make sure that you can get there. You can get to the next place, whether that be from place 1 to place 2 or back home. And then you need to be able to afford basic things like food, etc. And we'll see some examples of what that looks like. Okay, so it's got to be realistic. And then you should try to say my vacation lasted for some number of days and some number of nights, and I ended up spending a total of blank, however much money you ended up spending. Here is my plan, ... Okay, so that's like your overview, kind of like what we're going to see, setting the scene. So in the next slide, what you're going to do is you're going to do your places. Now remember, you need to choose at least 2. And I put the comment here to remind you that. Hopefully that will come up. And it's okay if you want to delete 3 and 4 and only do 2 places. That's fine. Just try to, if you're going to do that, maybe center them, make them look nice, something like that. Okay? Now, for each place, you have to include a landmark that you want to see in that place. And you're responsible as part of your budget of going to see that landmark and paying to see it if that is part of what you need to do to see it, right? So some landmarks you have to pay to see them, some you don't. Okay, you're only required to do landmarks 3 and 4 if you have places 3 and 4. Okay, so in other words, if you haven't done places 3 and 4, right, you don't have to do landmarks for number 3 and 4. Okay, so you'll see some examples of that as well. Okay, why you chose your location. So I don't want you to just say, yeah, I went to, I went to Washington, D.C. Cool. I went to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Cool. But why? Why? Don't just choose. I don't want to see people just choosing random places and going there. Choose places that are, that are meaningful to you. So this is an opportunity to tell a story and to like share why these places are important to you and why you want to go visit. So have fun with this project. We really want to encourage you to use math. But we also want to encourage you to have fun and choose stuff that matters to you. Okay, so that's what you're going to explain here. All right. Now, what you now have to do is you have to answer the basics. How am I getting from place to place? Okay? So how you're getting from place to place depends. If you're not going more than 500 miles, then you can use a car. But if your destination is more than 500 miles away from your current location, you need to take an airplane. Okay, so if I'm going from, here's Boston, this pin. If I'm going, let's say, Montreal, I can take my car. Okay, if I'm going from here to New York City, I can take my car. If I'm going from here to like upstate New York, I can take my car. Right? And then when I get to upstate New York, it resets. Then I can go up to 500 miles from there and 500 miles from there. But if I go outside of 500 miles, and I've drawn this to show you what that represents, you have to take an airplane. So if I want to go to, Washington, D.C., which is down here. Actually, no, it's actually right here. Wow, you can even drive to Washington, D.C. So, sorry, if I want to go to, like, Miami, which is, like, way down, okay, I have to take a plane. So, again, more than 500 miles away, you have to take a plane, okay? So this shows you all the places you could go from Milton without needing a plane. And you could even go up. You could even go 5 places within there. Okay, for any travel by car, you need to factor in, if you decide to do that instead of fly, you need to factor in the cost of renting a car and any expenses. So that includes gas, etc., and miles if that's how it's, works. Sometimes there's unlimited miles, sometimes there's not. Okay, how you're getting around, you're going to detail all your costs there. So what I'm thinking of is, how much did the flight cost? What was the flight number? When did you take the flight? And again, you'll see examples. Okay, now, for each place, and thanks to Miss Halsey for this comment, I'm okay with rounding as well. For each place you visit, you're going to type the name of it, the number of days and nights you're staying, and again, I'll show you how I did that. Then you're going to say, how much did it cost you to stay there? How much did it cost you to get there? And then you're going to list a couple of other costs you have related to being there. So for example, going on a bus tour, food, souvenirs, stuff like that, okay? For each one, you're going to say the name. You're going to say a brief description, so like Airbnb, Delta Airlines flight, the amount, and if it's like a hotel, maybe your per night amount here, and then the total cost goes here. Some things will be a one-time cost. Let's say you only spend $200 on airplane one time. Then that's a one-time thing. But if you spend $50 a night and you stay for 4 days, then it will be $200 because you were there for 4 nights. So it's 4 times 50 or 200. Okay? You're going to do this idea and then you're going to add all these up to get your total. You'll do that for all of the places that you go. So if you go to, everyone will have a place 1 and a place 2, and then optionally you'll have a place 3 and a place 4. Okay, once you've done all that, you're going to come here and you're going to, for each one, sum up your total costs. So you're going to do each location, and again, if you don't have a 3 or a 4, leave whatever you don't have blank, the name of the location, the number of days and nights you stayed, and I put this example to help you, how much you had to pay to get there, so your flight or your whatever, how much money you spent there, so everything except that cost, and the total amount of money spent. Okay? And then don't forget, you also have to pay to get back home. Okay? So make sure you also have looked up a flight back home. Okay? And then you'll do all your totals here. You'll add up the costs. You'll do the total cost of transportation, the total amount of money spent there, and the total number of days and nights. And you add everything up. And these 2 boxes should be equal to these 5 boxes. And you add them up. Lastly, any research that you do. So if you have a lodging amount, I'd really appreciate if you could do a link to your Airbnb. If you go on like, oh, I want to go to New York City and I want to go on the Statue of Liberty, look up how much it costs and post a link. Now, I know right now we're in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis. So if you have stuff that's closed, try your best to get the most accurate research you can. So maybe it will say the Statue of Liberty is closed. See if you can look up the cost of when it of what it costs when it's open. Just do your best, make the numbers realistic, and have fun with it. The idea is to do math, practice budgeting, which is a really important idea involving math that you're going to have to do as an adult, but also to have fun, right? Because that's the kind of the idea behind vacations. All right, so I'm going to show you my example here. So this is my vacation project. This is how I filled it in. So where I went is, so I will tell you at the end, but I ended up spending a total of $1,993. Okay, and I spent 8 days and 7 nights. And 7 nights, and spent a total. Okay, and this you'll fill that in. Okay, so I went to Los Angeles, the Grand Canyon in Arizona, Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, and Chicago, Illinois. Okay, here's my pictures. And I just got these from Google Images. So you just go to images.google.com, search them. Okay, so then I chose my landmarks. So for LA, I wanted to see Hollywood. For the Grand Canyon, I wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I think that speaks for itself. For Yellowstone National Park, I actually wanted to visit the park. And in Chicago, I wanted to visit the Willis Tower, formerly known as the Sears Tower. Okay, so I just chose mine, and then I'm responsible for incurring some cost, if necessary, to visit each of those landmarks. That way there's something fun that I'm doing. I'm not just like staying in my hotel. Why I chose them? I've never honestly been to California before, and I've always wanted to go. Okay, Los Angeles seems like a good first place. I don't know much about California. Maybe you know more and you want to make some suggestions. I visited the Grand Canyon when I was in 4th grade, and I really enjoyed it, so I kind of want to go back there again. And I also, when I was a kid, visited Yellowstone. So, and Wyoming seems like a pretty cool place. And then I've got some friends who live in Chicago, so I wanted to visit my friends who live in Chicago as well. Okay, so those are my reasons. You would do something similar, like why you chose each place. All right. So how I'm getting around. So the first thing I have to do is I've got to figure out how much it costs to get from Boston to Los Angeles. Now, I'm assuming that I left on May 9th because that is the Saturday that I believe is closest to next week. You could choose whatever day you want. I'm not picky about this, but this is what you need to do. So here I am on kayak.com, and I'm going to search Boston to Los Angeles, and I'll just choose, like, I've already got the 9th set up here. Maybe just choose some day after today. So today I'm shooting this, it's the 28th. Maybe do the Saturday afterwards, and then just search and see what you get. Okay, so I'm going to do my kayak search here. Okay, so it's getting me a price of $184. So at this point, based on when I had gone, I was spending $245 because there's a lot of factors that influence prices. So I would go here. Okay. I would say, oh, 184. Okay. And then I would try to find the flight number. American Airlines 653. That's where this comes from. So I flew from Boston to Logan. Here I ended up being able to take JetBlue. So I mentioned the name of the airline and how much it costs and the flight number. And I just got that just by looking here. What I'd like to see you do at a very minimum is I want to know where you're going from, where you're going to, and what it costs. And the airline you took if you took an airline. Okay, that would be nice if you could do that. The flight number, not as important, but it's got to be evident that some research was done. Then I would appreciate if you could just do a copy. So what I'm doing right now is I'm copying the link, and then I'll paste into my research flight. Okay, and I'll post my flight in there so that it's clear that I did some research. There's numbers to back it up. Okay. So then I stay there a couple days. So now I'm in LA. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to get to the Grand Canyon. So I did the research on maps.google.com. And what I learned is that the Grand Canyon is less than 500 miles. It's technically 491 miles from LA. So I went to enterprise.com. I looked up how much a rental car costs. I found one for $61. And then I also figured out the gas costs. So I did that. I got $145. And at this point, if you want to, you could get a flight home from Grand Canyon and call it a day. But I decided to go, I wanted to go to Wyoming. So what I did is I can come back here and you just do it again. So you come back up. Now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm going to Jackson, Wyoming, and I'm going on the, well, let's say you want to go on the 6th and you want to leave on the 7th. Okay. Give it a little bit more time to get the numbers. Oh, so it's a little bit expensive right now. And again, based on the circumstances, things are going to change. So you're going to have to spend $528. So maybe for you, now I was able to get it for 211. That's based on the date that I went, etc. Maybe you decide that's too much and you don't go to a location 3. But that's the idea. You're just looking up how to get from place to place to place. Okay? And then you're using like a research, like a website to look that up. And that's all I did. The last thing you have to remember is you have to look for a flight home. So let's say you end up, let's say for example, you're done and you are in Miami, Florida. So you need to search what it costs from Miami to come back home. Not Bombay, Boston, Massachusetts. And let's say your trip ends on the 9th. Okay, so you can get that flight. It's a pretty common flight. So if you're willing to come in at 8 a.m., it's actually $43, which is ridiculous. It's a very good deal. Okay, you might want to look through. I'm not really concerned with whether you do a round trip ticket or not. I just would say care about the price, and then maybe you'd write down it's American Airlines flight $10.99, so $43. That's even cheaper than what I got it for. So that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. So just think through and have fun, but think about if you're gonna plan a trip, you have to get yourself to every destination. So think about buying your airline tickets and how would I buy airline tickets to get to every single destination. Again, sorry, the flight numbers don't matter, but if you could just, again, please copy and paste your links so there's a sense you did research, That would be really great. Okay, then for each place, what you're going to do is you're going to lay out how much did it cost you to stay there? How much did it cost you to get there? So this you're literally copying and pasting. Right? That 245 comes from this 245 right here. Copy pasting. Okay? Now, I look up my lodging, but here notice I have to cover food. $45 a day is very cheap. I don't know if that's even realistically cheap. And then you have to cover your landmark. So I took some bus tours because LA, I said my landmark was Hollywood. In the Grand Canyon, I had to do something in the Grand Canyon, etc. So you're not just staying in your hotel. Then for lodging, here's what I do. So I went on May 9th. So I come to Airbnb.com and I look up Los Angeles. Check-in date. May. So let's say you want to go from the 2nd to the 4th. You search. Okay. And then you maybe, if you just want to do this kind of search, this says 2 guests, that's fine. You do the search. 1 guest, $121. So there you go. You get the rate. You copy the link. You come down here, and then this will be blank, but you can write Airbnb and just paste in the link. Okay, and then that shows me you did the research. So you should have a place to stay for every single one. So maybe I come to Grand Canyon. I come to Airbnb. Maybe I'm in Grand Canyon on the 5th to the 6th. Do a search. Okay, I don't want to probably spend $300 a night. Oh, here we go. A Yukon camper for $65 a night. Okay, maybe I'm only going one place. So, oh wow, look at this, $46 a night. So you do your research, whatever you're going to do. If you want to get the cabin, you get the cabin. Wow, looks like a great cabin. You copy your link. You put your amount per day and your total. So I would put, if I go to the cabin, I would put $300 a day plus fees, $845 total. Okay, so you're just doing the research. And then you're pasting your link here. It would be helpful if for each one you could type in what you're referring to. So Los Angeles, Grand Canyon, third one was Yellowstone, and fourth one was Chicago. Okay, last thing, once you have everything done, you're going to summarize it on the last page. So here's the trick. When you say a day and a night, this is where it gets tricky. So if you leave Los Angeles during the day and you arrive in Grand Canyon during the day, does that count as a day for both? Well, no, it obviously can't. You can't spend the same day in 2 places at once. So you have to be careful with how you did it. So I counted Los Angeles because I started in Los Angeles. So that day counted. Then I stayed overnight. So use the number of nights in your hotel as a guide. It's got to be at least the same number of days as nights. So if you spend 2 nights in the hotel, there's got to be at least 2 days. This is one extra because I counted the day it took me to get there. Okay? And then these are the costs of the flights. I added them all up. This is the total of the other money. So Chicago, for example, I spent $494. I subtract out the transportation, and I get the remaining $146. Okay? So try your best at it. We're going to spend some time on this project, but the idea is to do research and to think about how you would go about planning a vacation. Because the thing is this, in life, you might want to have fun. You might want to go somewhere when you have a week or so off. But if you don't budget your money well, you're going to put yourself in a tough situation, especially one where I can only imagine if I was in Los Angeles, Grand Canyon. These are between these are up to thousands of miles away from where I live. No one around me, no support, right? If I don't budget well and I don't have money, then I'm putting myself in a really difficult situation. So these are really important skills we want to have around financial literacy. Keep working at it. We will have a hangout and an opportunity for you to ask questions, but also feel free to email us at any time. Have a wonderful day, and you can do it. Enjoy, folks.